Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to my LinkedIn Live show. Still looking for a name, so if anyone would like to offer some suggestions, shoot me a message. My guest, Chynna Morgan, had to reschedule today, so I'm doing it on my own. Show must go on. We're going to do a little bit of a year in review, and we're going to do an Ask Me Anything, so come on and send some questions in the comments, some thoughts about 2020. And anything for 2021 as well. I appreciate everyone's support over this year and interaction on my LinkedIn and even some Facebook. It's been a crazy and wild year. Started out pretty great. I got married on Leap Day, and then all hell broke loose. So save your marriage jokes for another time. Almost got stuck on the honeymoon. We were watching as we were over in Barbados and Antigua, and didn't know if we were even going to be able to come back to the U.S., but came back and basically quarantined from them. A lot of stuff missed, a lot of events, missing friends and family, but we're alive and very grateful for that. There's been a lot of death and destruction for people and companies, small companies and businesses. My heart breaks for them. I do everything I can to try and help, and I think we all need to. Hopefully there's help on the way. It seems like there might be. We don't know. Hey, Corey, always great to see you here. So then the first actual moment that COVID hit me was when I got back from my honeymoon. The next day, I was supposed to leave for Nashville for the SEC basketball championships, and I go to that every year. It's, I think, 12 or 13 years in a row. Brent and Frankie have gone maybe 16, 17. They'll have to let me know. Hi, Brett. So we got back, and we were getting ready to go. We were going to go anyway. Even if we couldn't go into the games, we thought we'd still all hang out in Nashville. We all get together. It's a good time to see our friends. And we were told that they weren't going to let people into the game. They actually started one of the games. They might have finished it. I don't remember. But they started one of the games in the tournament on Wednesday. We were scheduled to play Thursday, and it got canceled. And that's when that was like my first moment that I knew that was it. I mean, this is real. And, because there's a lot of money involved in that. And then we thought, all right, well, they'll cancel the conference tournament, but can they get the NCAA tournament going? March Madness, another great moment, and that ended up being canceled. They thought they were going to get it done, and you always think they're going to get stuff like that done because there's too much money, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars and not lost. They say lost. It's not lost. It's just not gained. But to give up that, and if they could have done it in any possible way, they would have done it. So, it was a lot going on then. It was April 1. Bert, happy holidays to you. We'll get to that in a minute. You got to hang on for that. We haven't started the Ask Me Anything yet, Brett. So, so a lot going on at the beginning of the year. I actually, went full time with Ticket Time Machine April 1. I decided at the end of last year. So it was, and strangely enough, it's been a very fruitful time for me, even with COVID, because I've been able to have conversations with people I probably never would have been able to. Had incredible networking events, met a lot of great people that I really am looking forward to connecting with in person. And it's been great. There's been up and downs, it's been a roller coaster, but there's been a lot of good things, a lot of things, that didn't go well this year, a lot of things missed, and really feeling for people who had to deal with a lot more than I did. I was on a Zoom funeral, but it's a terrible thing, people not being able to be with your loved ones at a time in need. And I'm very fortunate enough, to be able to talk to my family and be around my family often. I got to see them a couple of times this year, not in the way that we normally do, but it's still better than nothing. That's what I always like to look at, saying this is better than nothing. So we got to count the blessings and enjoy every moment we have while we have it. Nothing is promised or guaranteed. But let's move on to what has happened this year. A lot of Zoom calls. Started out watching a lot of content, and I didn't find a whole lot of content, whether it was live streams or events, to be that great. It still, again, it was better than nothing, and there wasn't a whole lot to do. So I certainly tuned into a lot of it. I could probably count on one hand the number of live streams that I think were worth paying for, and I've paid for 4 or 5. They were pretty good. Some disappointing aspects of it. It's not going anywhere soon. If you've had an event this year that you watched on your computer or on your phone, or it was a hybrid event that you were able to go to, drop a note in the comments and let us know what that was and how was it, and are you looking forward to continuing to do that? Do you see it going away? These events are not going anywhere. The funny thing is that Zoom and places like Stageit, who are doing live streams, they've been around for a long time, and it just wasn't used to the extent that it's being used now. We had talked about all this new technology. It's not really new technology. It's just technology that is being expanded. It's being improved. And now there's just a lot more platforms out there. And so, I think they're just going to continue to get better. We're working on some stuff ourselves here at Ticket Time Machine. Hope to have some exciting news to announce in the very near future. And we're just very excited about everything that's happening and that's going on. It started out with streaming out of Fenway. That was probably my favorite event that I saw. It was the Dropkick Murphys, and it was online, and I think it was on TV as well. And just they were playing in the middle of Fenway, and just really cool to see them do that and to listen. The music was good. There were some good stories around. A little bit too much fluff for me, but I think every production has that. That's how they extend the time. Kind of like watching reality TV. They can cut it in about half and cut about half of it out, and then still have a pretty good production. Bud Light Seltzer Sessions with Brad Paisley and Lady A. I thought that was great. There was some great interaction with the crowd. They had some people going on the screen and Zoom. The NFL, the NBA, they all utilized Zoom and brought some fans onto the screen, whether it was the NFL draft or in the NBA bubble. They did a great job. A lot to celebrate. Companies switching gears, I'd like to say, instead of pivot. Not using the word pivot. We talked about that with Jesse on our live the other day. Just switching gears and either doing something different for their own good, or actually using their capabilities for other people's good. So I think it was Budweiser, and maybe I'm mixing it up, started producing water when people need water. And you see a lot of this happening as whenever there's devastation or there's, some type of horror around the world, other companies are coming to step up. And that's always great to see. Humans helping humans. Just see a lot of people helping others on Twitter and on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And best thing that came out of this pandemic for me is thanks, Michael, for joining in. Michael's got a great podcast. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Playing the Field is his app. Check it out. The best thing that's come from this, just the time to relax and really enjoy things. I mean, I've had the ability to have everything slow down, and I'm not in a rush to go do everything. So it really makes you appreciate everything. I know once everything starts to happen again, I'm going to be on the go, traveling and going to the events. And so a lot of time to really just sit back and enjoy with my wife, with my family. No friends really right now, with Florida being a mess with that respect, but soon. And it's really enjoyable. I mean, one of the things that I am always wishing for is that my events wouldn't go back to back to back to back, because you just need to take a second and just kind of, take a deep breath and make sure you're doing okay. Another great thing is the same here, global mental health. If you haven't read my story before, I had some depression issues, and I've we can talk about that. There's other shows that I've done. I can talk about that for hours, but I've gotten a lot more involved with Eric and Steven and the Same Here team, and we're looking to help move the conversation forward with mental health. It just needs to be talked about more. Everybody's going through something that, especially with this pandemic. I think Eric posted a stat about the number of suicides has been increased, and just from people either abusing drugs and alcohol or feeling like they're alone and they have nowhere to go. It's it's been really good to be a part of that. I look forward to the great things that we're going to continue to do. If anyone is interested in getting involved, please get in touch with me. We're looking for CEOs to join the Same Here CEO. Our belief is it all has to start from the top and create a safe environment for people to feel comfortable enough that they can share their feelings and experiences, and that'll open up more people to share and feel, and just really to get the conversation going. They've done a great job with some celebrities and some mental health advocates, and there's a lot of good organizations out there, and that's one of the things I think that has really been good to come out of this for me, and I've become a lot more active with social responsibility, whether it's equality or the Black Lives Matter movement, just more equality, and obviously I got more political. Part of it is because I am my own company. Ticket Time Machine is me, and I'm Ticket Time Machine, and I feel comfortable to say whatever I want to say and not worry that my boss is gonna punish me for that. I think that's a big problem that people have. As long as you're saying something and expressing how you feel that's not offensive, it should be okay. There's obviously freedom of speech and not freedom from consequence. A lot of people get that mixed up. I obviously can say whatever I want, but if I say something that's really controversial or offensive, I'm going to have to suffer the consequences for that. And now it's a lot higher because, I have a company that I'm running. And so I do be careful about that, but I always have spoke my mind, and I'm not going to stop now. A lot of more people need to speak up their mind, and that's been more evident this year with everything that's gone on in the election and with the fake news and just the violence, the inequality, and Brett says our Florida's in good shape. Florida's in terrible shape. It's in good shape if you want to go do stuff, but they're losing record deaths every day. And but again, we can do a whole show about all of these stuff. Let's talk about entertainment. Netflix has been huge. We watched a ton of shows. What were your favorite shows this year? Obviously, I feel like Tiger King was this year. It feels like the year feels so long. I feel like Tiger King really started everything. I watched the Queen's Gambit. I thought that show was great. I watched what else did I watch? Man, so many shows. The Boys, that was great. Watched Ozark. I think there's a new episode coming out. And The Masked Singer, some shows on network television too. Don't sleep on network television. There's still some good shows out there. I thought Masked Singer did a good job. They had some really great celebrities, and really got into Jeopardy this year. My wife and I watch it like every night. I think James Holzhauer got us into that. So it's just interesting. Jeopardy's been on forever, and you get someone like James Holzhauer, who was a polarizing figure, but he kept winning. And you kept winning and winning and winning. It's like, following the Powerball. When it's 40 million, 50 million, 60 million, you're just like walk past you drive past the billboard. And then when it gets up to like 150, 200, you're like, oh, maybe I should check this out. So, it was definitely because of James. We started watching Jeopardy, and, it's great. It just kind of makes you feel bad about how much you don't know that you should know. And then we got to watching The Weakest Link, which is sort of very similar. It's, more of the pop culture, which I'm better at. So I feel a little bit smarter watching that show, and then watching some of the people just mess up on some easy questions. But I feel like I've gotten a little bit smarter, more well-rounded this year with more time to do. What are you guys doing? What have you done this year that you were able to do because of COVID that you couldn't before. I mean, time is always a problem. And now you think about it, if you're working from home and you don't have to wake up and get ready and go to work and travel and commute and then commute on the way back, you could have, an hour or two extra every day to do something. What are you doing? What are you doing to make the stuff around you better, to make your life better, to help people? Always looking for new ideas. I got a lot going on with work, and we just moved into a new house, so we're getting that set. Thanks, Michael. Always great to see you. Brett says The Outsider. I've heard good things about that. I forgot to talk about Cobra Kai. Great show. When YouTube TV put it out, there was a free trial to watch the first 2 episodes. And I watched the first 2, and I thought it was great then. This is probably a year or 2 back. And I just never got YouTube TV because I was like, I'm not going to get it. Forgot all about it. Its show goes to Netflix, and it takes off like crazy. So it's just you start looking at the power of Netflix and the power of an influencer like James and Jeopardy, something that's been around, and out of the blue, it just shoots off. Another thing that I compare that to is Schitt's Creek. My sister was all over Schitt's Creek 6 years ago when nobody was watching it. I don't even know what channel it was on. And it comes to Netflix and it's going nuts, and we all watch it, binge it, and wins every single award. Same here, Michael. Looking forward to meet a ton of people. You're on that list. So many people. We're going to have to throw like a huge party somewhere. I don't know where. Come to my house when the pool and the tiki bar is open. So yeah, Schitt's Creek, another example. So it's not always the content, right? Because the content in Cobra Kai and the content on Jeopardy, it hasn't really changed. And also with Schitt's Creek, it's just a new audience or a new spin on it. And it's interesting to see stuff like that happen. And the lesson I learned from that is I don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. I just have to bring it to a different audience, or maybe tweak it a little bit and make it a better offering, maybe more value. There's a lot of lessons to be learned on some of the successes that have gone on here in 2020. And a lot of it is because people were forced to make those changes. And so what we're always trying to do is look and see what can we do better, and what's new, what's a problem out there. Because if you wait to do it until you have to do it, it takes a while to get it rolling. And there's a lot of people going to be doing it. You see that with all the platforms out here and the live streams and the different types of companies that are trying to appeal to the pandemic life and social distancing. Kudos to Chick-fil-A, just popped in my head. Their drive-through is insane how good they are. And, it's just incredible. Speaking of fast food, Burger King lent their Instagram to other small restaurants and just to use their Instagram to help promote. So there's a lot of good in the world. And I know people get down and there's a ton of bad stuff that's happening in the world. And Michael Franti, one of my favorite singers, he's got a song called Good Shit Happens. Bad shit happens, but good shit happens too. So let it happen to you. And that's, I think that's a good way to live. Let's, you don't ignore the bad stuff. It happens. You got to address it. You got to fight through it. But let's celebrate the wins, however small they may be. And, we're alive here. We got to get to the other side of this, and good things will happen. I'm certain of that. And I'm looking forward to being a part of all of that. New stuff, helping people, meeting new people. It's just getting great guests to come on LinkedIn Live, finding a name for the show. I have actually a Ticket Time Machine fathead that's about to be delivered. I thought it would be good today, so it could be behind me and not my dirty wall. But next time, when you see me in January, we'll have painted walls and a whole decked out studio. And so excited for 2021. The sports world was crazy this year. Masters and baseball in October and basketball all the way at the end. Kudos to the NBA for their bubble. kudos to Major League Baseball. I told my friend Cody and I had a joke, maybe a bet. I think I probably owned something about that. I didn't think Major League Baseball was going to finish the season, and they did. They missed it a little bit. NBA finished the season, did great. We can talk about the NCAA. The college football playoff, I think, is a disaster. This was the year to go to 8 teams, and they really, I think, lost out on that. Let's just forget about Notre Dame for a second. I think they have no business being there. But Ohio State to be in this after what happened, having only played 6 games, jumping Indiana to get into the Big Ten. And the reason I say that is through no fault of Ohio State. The players wanted to play. The Big Ten made the rule and said, if you don't play this amount of games, you can't play in the game. And then they switched it. No one told them to make that rule. They just made the rule, and then they went back on it. And we all know why they went back on it, and we know why the college football playoff didn't have the rule. But that's what it did. One of the things that really I'm looking to change is the good old boy network. And whether that's in sports or entertainment or politics, whatever it is, there's leadership, and they're all beholden to other people. And we need to get the young and new voice to have a bigger platform and turn that over to make things just more fair, I think. Give people a chance. That's really what it's all about. I always give people a chance. And, I think that the college football did themselves a disservice by allowing Ohio State to be in. The Big Ten did themselves a disservice by going back on their word and changing a rule like that. Because at the end of the day, if you could change a rule like that as easy as they did, why can't you change any other rule? And now it just becomes too easy to change rules based on what's good or what's bad. And I think that is a terrible thing for everywhere. Not that rules shouldn't be changed. I think there's a ton of rules that should be changed. And you can't fault some people for making changes and doing things within the rules, even though, it's not looked upon great. The rules need to be changed. The laws need to be changed. But there is still also, things that are right to do and not right to do. And so, it'll be interesting to see how they move forward with that. I'm sure they don't care. The fans don't care. I don't think there's a whole lot of interest in the college football playoff outside of the 4 teams, but I'm not sure that's different anyway. People might be tired of watching Alabama. And Clemson. I don't know what I'll tune in. We'll see. Let me answer some comments here. So Brett said Karate Kid is nostalgic, corny. I think it's great. A very good mix of Karate Kid from the past and a new show. Michael, season 3 of Cobra Kai. Season 3 is going to be great. There's a couple of shows. Again, Ozark coming out with the final season. Some really good shows. I guess we'll go to the Ask Me Anything. Since I'm getting some questions here. Frankie wants to know the fully attended event I'm looking forward to being at. Man, there are so many events that I missed out on. If we can get back to the SEC basketball tournament in Nashville, that is probably it. My great friends I get to see. Nashville is one of my favorite cities in all of the U.S. And the food, the music, just everything. It's kind of weird because I've gone to a couple of events and I could have gone to some more, even being socially distanced, wear a mask. But for me, the traveling is part of who I'm with and what I'm doing, and the food. I'm a real big foodie, and music is everything to me. And so if I'm going to a place and I can't go out and listen to live music and I can't sit and enjoy a nice meal, then I'm not as excited to go to some of these events, the sporting events. But definitely SEC basketball tournament, the Hella Mega Tour with Green Day, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy. That I was looking forward to. Kenny Chesney with Old Dominion, Florida, Georgia Line, and Michael Fronte in Nashville. So, again, getting back to Nashville. I'm not sure any of that's going to happen in the first half of the year. Everything I'm hearing, you're looking at maybe third quarter for some of these big events. It's just too much risk involved. And, if something goes wrong, there's just a lot of liability. And, even just through no fault of your own, you're looking at some bad PR. So people are going to have to be very flexible. I think they learn to be flexible now, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to them all. I probably have about 50 or 60 of them that I'd like to go to. Let's get back to Brett's question about Kyle Trask QB talents in the NFL. I think he's going to be a first day pick, maybe even a first round, depending on maybe how he plays in the bowl. You might get some more eyes on him. I think what he's done this year has been incredible. You've heard his story if you watch the game. He was on the bench in high school, backup in high school, and backed up in Florida until he got a chance to shine. And fell a little bit short, but Gators' defense was terrible. No fault of Kyle's. He had a couple bad plays and could have, but his vision is just incredible. So I think if he gets to a team that has a good offensive line, and I think he can do some good things there. The good thing about him is he'll be able to sit back and learn, not be thrown in. That's a positive, I think, for any quarterback, depending on who you're learning from. But just getting those reps in practice, and obviously game speed is there's nothing like it. But it's it'll be interesting to see. I look forward to seeing him. I'll be rooting for him wherever he goes. I'm a big fan of his. I hope he wins the Heisman. It's not looking great because everyone is all up on Bama and Clemson have made the playoffs. His stats are better than Joe Burrow's last year if you look at it, and he played against an all-SEC schedule. So really excited for him and for the Gators. It's been a good year, not the year we expected, but it's been a good year. The bad side of what happened was the Keontae Johnson story. So great news yesterday to hear that Keontae had gotten out of the hospital, and we're wishing him the best. Full recovery, hopefully. He's out for the year, obviously, with a heart condition. Most important thing is that he's alive and well, and a lot more to do, whether it's basketball or whatever else he chooses. We're wishing him the best, and excited to hear that he is doing better and out, because a lot of people in that situation they don't get as lucky. So we're very appreciative of that. Which team do I see as the best? You know what? It's funny. I don't watch the NFL closely enough to make a draft prediction like that. I used to watch it more, and then I started taking my grandma on a circuit every Sunday, so I stopped watching NFL as much, and I'm all in on college. But who knows? Again, anyone with a good offensive line. I think the draft is really funny the way it's like, you could be the best player in a bad situation, or an average player goes to the great situation, and timing could be everything. That's why you see some of these people who aren't so good in college, or, they're average in college, and they come on and they're just, they kill it in the NFL. In the NBA also. You saw a guy from Florida State drafted in the lottery, and he wasn't even a starter. Now in basketball, it's six man, it's not that big of a difference, but he probably could have started at any other team. Some people like to come off the bench. And so, I don't know. Excited. It's weird. Like the draft was late now, and then basketball started up just last night. And it's like, not much fanfare for the start of the basketball season. I don't know what the appetite is for it. I guess we'll see as we move forward. Hockey just announced they're going to start on the 13th. Football's coming to an end. Nobody knows what's going to go on with the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's going to happen, but it's not going to be the big event that it always is, because part of that is just the events around it and the stars, and just it's incredible. I was lucky enough to go to the Fanatics party with my friend Josh, who invited me. So thanks, Josh. Obviously, there's no Fanatics party this year. Hopefully, we'll get to the next one. I hope to be working with Fanatics. So, Michael, if you're listening, Ruben, have your people call my people. Let's get some stuff done. People like hockey, Brett. I know you don't, but people like hockey. Hockey is very, very popular. We leave it at a sports weekend because it's too hard. I think it goes further in. Let's talk about sports weekend for a little bit. So, my brother and my friend Kevin, my twin brother, if anyone doesn't know, he gets mad when I don't talk about him on here. But my brother and my good friend Kevin, out in Arizona now, we all grew up together. And 2001, or 2000, they started a tradition where we go to a different city every year and go to Major League Baseball, college football, and pro football. I'm a big tradition guy. I have probably 10 different traditions. I talked about a little bit with the SEC basketball tournament. I go to this sports weekend. And so this is supposed to be our 20th year. 20 years in a row we've done something. That's a difficult task because of the schedule and getting everyone together. Kevin and my brother were the only ones to be there all years. I missed out on the first one. It's pretty awesome. I can't lie about that. I didn't go to the first one. It's one of the a few regrets I have in my life. I've been to 18 years afterwards. This would have been my 19th year in a row, and it's just terrible to not be able to do that. But again, there will be others next year. We'll do it. We'll meet up somewhere, regardless of whether or not we can go to all the games. It's all about hanging out with our friends, the guys we grew up with, and we've added some new people to the mix. And so what traditions do you have every year? What holiday traditions, what athletic traditions, sporting event traditions, music? Do you go do something every year? How long have you done it? It's crazy. I had 13 years in a row in the SEC tournament, and 19 years in a row doing this sports weekend. I go to a Gator Road football game every year. That got done this year. It was supposed to be at Ole Miss, and I couldn't make it this year because of getting on a plane. That would have been my 14th year in a row, I think. 13th year in a row. So anyway, it's a lot of traditions. We'll get all that. Vaccine as soon as we can get it. I'm gonna make sure it's safe by watching others take it. And I won't be doing a video while I take it like everyone seems to be doing, but I applaud those who do, and I applaud everyone who's making the efforts to make the world a safer place and getting everything back. I know it's tough for people. They're losing money. They're not able to do a lot of things that they used to do. But it's sad to have traditions, and it seems silly to talk about that because I'm very privileged to be able to do all these things. And there's people who are, struggling to find their next meal. And so, it kind of makes me feel a lot more appreciative about that and wanting to help other people and understanding that we're very lucky, to be able to go do something like that one year. Forget some people don't get to do that ever. That could be a bucket list for them, and we get to do it every year with my friends, with my brother, who I make sure I see about. I try and see him 3 or 4 times a year. He's my twin. He's in New Jersey. I'm giving him a shout out. He's got 4 kids, my nieces and nephews. Shout out to them if they're watching. Well, they're probably not because they might be in school, but I don't know. Maybe he could see a replay. And I followed him to UF, so I thank him for going to UF. I brought me there, and who knows where I would be. I probably would have followed my sister to Arizona. Go Wildcats, even though they had a miserable year. 70 points they gave up to Arizona State. Crazy. It's just been a weird year, and it's been good. Some really good moments and some really bad moments. Oh yeah, you could post a video in the comments. Shout out to Andrew Witriol. Is that Andrew W that says LinkedIn user? I don't know why he's not showing up, but Andrew and I have actually reconnected about 3 or 4 years ago when he was traveling for work, and we went out and met. I think it was the night of the national championship, the Notre Dame Bama game that we watched zero minutes of, which I was thankful to not watch. It's been great to reconnect too. I think it's never too late to just reach out to the people that you haven't, that you've lost touch with, and connect with them. Say you're sorry. I've done that. Some people take the apology, some don't. We're not perfect, I think, but if we are sincere about trying to connect, then I think it's on the other person to accept it. And I feel very good about the relationships that I've been able to bring back, and the ones that I haven't, I feel like I've done my best. And I hope to reconnect with some people or connect in a better way with others next year. If there's anything I could do to help people, shoot me a message. Anyone else watching who has a question before we move on to some stuff? What is the biggest life lesson? The biggest life lesson is, I think the biggest life lesson is that life can go on without all the stuff that you're used to. I mean, find other things to focus on and find other ways to be productive. And maybe you don't miss, it's not, I'm very fanatical about a lot of things. I'm very passionate about a lot of things. Everyone who knows me, maybe too much. And, I don't like to miss certain things, but now maybe if I miss a thing here and there, it's not the end of the world. You got to find out what your priorities are. And not to say that certain things shouldn't be important. They are. I have things that are very important. I think there's enough time for everything too. That's a lesson that I think everyone should know. Just a lot of time. There's enough, not a lot of time. There's enough time for everything. I'm never going to take the excuse I'm too busy to do this or too busy to that. That's in the moment thing. You can do it at some point. The president of the United States taught us that lesson by playing as much golf as he has. And so, there's enough time, and make time. You make time for the things that are important to you, and everyone can do that. There's always time. If it's important enough to you, you can be there now with Zoom and FaceTime. There's other ways. Family, good health, and annual sports weekend. We're getting Brett, where do you want to go next year? How about that? Put that in the comments. Where's everyone looking forward to? I know you asked me what my event was. I'm looking forward to that. Key West. I haven't been to Key West since my bachelor party in January. I love Key West. It's my favorite city in the U.S., and I need to get back there. It's sad to not be able to go and experience it the way I want to. The music's great. The food's great. You just can't have it's very hard to have a bad time there. And so where are you guys looking forward to going to? Some places are open somewhat and people are going, but it's not the same. And so, when we can do that, when we can go and we can be, ourselves and do everything that we were doing, it's going to be a celebration, a big party. And I think a lot of people are going to be, doing things and going to events. There's a ton of events all going to happen at once, especially with the timing. But we're still in a pandemic, and regardless of whether or not there's a vaccine, you can do this. There's still a lot out there that is not going well. People who aren't getting, they don't have enough money. They lost their jobs. They've lost family members. And it's just, they're still going to need our help. So as we move into 2021 and we see that we're able to go ahead and do things, we still have to keep in mind that there's others who can't. And, one of the other things is, I've always tried to help people. And this COVID has realized that I need to do more to help people that aren't, that can't help, that need help. A lot of people need help. You see all the talk going around about the $600 that they're going to give someone. I mean, to me, that's crazy. It's, $600 is, I gave my last one to someone who lost their job because it's just crazy. That's nothing. And meanwhile, the Congress people who are making these decisions are getting publicly funded $200,000 salaries and great health care. And so, they needed to do it back then. They needed to do the stuff to make the world and the U.S. easier for people to navigate. And $600 is nothing. $2,000 isn't going to do nothing. It's a good start, but it's not going to do much. And I'm not talking about for me. I'm talking about for the people who really need it. Certainly, I could use it, but there's people who have a real need for it. And so, Eric, great to see you joining. Appreciate it. Festivals, concerts, marathons, beach volleyball. Well, certainly the outdoor events. Yeah, that's what we're asking about. The festivals are tough. Everyone I'm talking to thinks these big ones are going to have to move. So you're looking at least end of summer until some of these big festivals. Concert, I think they'll find a way maybe to open things up. I know Live Nation had talked about they're going to be doing events this summer, probably outside in the amphitheater. They might have to do some group things. It's I saw some, there's some events that happen on people from their balcony at a hotel in like a courtyard type thing. There's a lot of creative stuff. I find that people they're going to find the ways to get creative and do it. But, beach volleyball, I think people can play now. Outdoors marathons, that's a tough one. I mean, because marathons, they could time you. They can stagger you. So I think marathons is probably there's a decent chance that you can do a marathon and stagger and still time it right. Obviously, the conditions are a little bit different if you start an hour or 2 hours later, but there are people who do that anyway. So I would probably go with marathons. I think that's an interesting question. Maybe triathlons, right? You're on a bike and you're on a excuse me. Maybe you're on a bike or maybe you're swimming. Triathlons I think could make a comeback, and I think they've been doing them in some of the other countries. So that's a great question. What else are you missing? Movies. I used to go to movies all the time in a theater. I love going on a Friday and seeing a new release. My wife and I took her to a movies on her birthday in the middle of the afternoon. We were the only ones in the entire theater back in September. It was great. This feeling of being at events with no one around you or very few people around you it's very good. I know it's not sustainable, but it's fun and it's good. Movies, just go and play basketball. I haven't been able to play basketball. I used to play every weekend. I want to get back to playing basketball with people. Exercise. You can exercise these days. Go out, ride a bike, run, jog, lift weights. I know gyms are open. I haven't been back to the gym, but exercising outside. Lucky enough to live in Florida, so it's the weather has been pretty good. I think we're about to get a cold front, maybe in the 40s or 50s this weekend, and we'll see about that. Any other questions from the audience? It looks like it's always hard to tell how many people are watching. I think there's probably at least 2,000 or 3,000 people on the feed right now. So if one of the 2,000 or 3,000 has any more questions, we certainly can. I'd be happy to answer them. We were supposed to have a surprise guest for you, and it couldn't make it happen. But we got my mensch on the bench behind me. He's my sidekick. Not a big talker. Yep. Well, it looks like we've got no more questions. So I want to truly thank everyone for tuning in, for following me, for being a part of my journey. A lot of other things. The Olympics. Man, that is a great question. I think the Olympics will happen. Again, the money thing it's crazy how people do things when there's enough money involved and there's a gray area to whether or not you can. I would say without fans, you're broadcasting it. It's not that easy to get into the Olympic events anyway. So I don't really see the Olympics losing its entertainment value without fans, except for the people who would have gone. So I'm going to say that they will do it. They'll act as a bubble, and you have to stay in that bubble as long as you're there. So I would say that they will do it. And I don't know. My feeling is that Tokyo isn't as bad. The issue would be getting all the athletes there and making sure that they don't have COVID. So I think it's, that's going to be the biggest challenge, I think, is getting the athletes there. Because right now you see like Toronto Raptors are playing in Orlando because they can't go in and out of Canada, and you can't go back and forth. And so that's the biggest thing for me. I'll be tuning in. I'll be tuning in regardless. But I'm excited to see Olympics. There's been some new, 3-on-3 basketball, I think, is the new sport. And what was the new sport? Well, the Super Bowl is definitely going to happen. Thanks for joining, Tyrese. The Super Bowl is definitely going to happen. It's going to be lower capacity, and the events that surrounded it are going to be few and far between. But again, the Super Bowl is, aside from the events, which those are pretty exclusive. They're not that easy to get into. Watching it is really what people do. I mean, I'd almost rather watch it than go unless my favorite team is playing. So the TV value of the Super Bowl to me is great. I think they'll be able to put on a pretty good event. We've got The Weeknd performing at halftime. What do you think about that? I like The Weeknd. I think it's the super spreader bowl. The NFL's done a pretty good job. I wouldn't. I think they can continue, and I don't think they've had any games canceled, have they? So I think they're doing good. The CFP did not pick the right 4 teams. I think we touched on it. Notre Dame, to me, has no business being in. They had their chance against Clemson. They obviously are not in the same of the same caliber. I know they beat them earlier. That was without Trevor. That was at home in double overtime. Again, Ohio State, I just didn't play enough games. Teams had to play 10. If we didn't play A&M and a championship, you have less losses. So, or even LSU. It's hard. I think without the challenge was without 8 teams, it becomes harder to pick those 4. A&M, I probably would have put A&M in. I probably would have put Cincinnati in for the little guy. That's what I probably would have done if it was me. But they didn't call me this year. Maybe next year. We'll see. Great questions today. I really appreciate the questions and the support. As I was saying, it's been a great year, and that's weird to say. But I don't apologize for it. I'm excited about what's happened this year, and I'm excited about where we're headed, save for all the pandemic and the deaths. Obviously, I don't wish that on anyone. And but there's been a lot to question about, and it's with your own life, with everyone around you, with companies, lawmakers, election. It's been a crazy year, and it's gone fairly quickly. But then it's felt like it's felt like January was so long ago. Like I was at a basketball game in January, and it doesn't even, you don't even remember that was in the same year. But I'd like to wish everyone a happy Festivus. Today actually is Festivus. I meant to start off with that. It's today is Festivus for all you Seinfeld fans. It's actually based on a real holiday, and the guy whose family celebrated it was a co-writer on that episode of Seinfeld. Seinfeld's my favorite show of all time. And there's no close second. Maybe Family Guy. If you saw me before, I had a Seinfeld Family Guy pop art from Two Thangs, and check him out. Two Thangs on Instagram. Great fan artist. There's a lot of great fan artists. While I'm plugging fan artists, Jeremy Wolf, another great fan artist. Brian Kong, Kyler Smith is a great fan artist. And I know I'm forgetting some other people, so I apologize. But if you're into fan art, check out all of those people. They're all great, and I've been fortunate enough to meet with them. I have some of their fan art that I'm going to hang up in my office and my man cave. Whenever that, I guess we call it an entertainment room. Whenever that gets settled, but. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that, but get some fan art. So Seinfeld, Festivus. They started celebrating it back in the 60s, and it's a real, based on real holiday. And let's get this off here. Appreciate it. I don't know who that was, or I do know who it was, but I appreciate it either way. Check is in the mail. So anyway, Seinfeld, Festivus. It's people celebrate it, and it's one of those things that just kind of caught on. I always liked the Hanukkah armadillo from Friends, but it's funny to see these, entertainment become real life, and the Festivus has become a huge thing. December 23rd is the actual date of Festivus, and so if you are celebrating Festivus, I hope you can conquer the feats of strength and you air all of your grievances. I don't need a Festivus because anyone who knows me knows I air my grievances on a daily basis. That's what they love about me. And so we look forward to 2021. A lot more guests to speak. If you know someone who you think would be good to come on the show, send me an email. If you know someone who should be part of our Same Here CEO, get in touch. If you know anyone who needs souvenir tickets, who wants to commemorate, we do stuff for weddings or any event, get back in touch with me. I'm about as accessible as you can possibly be. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I even have a TikTok video out there, which is Terrible video, but funny. So check it out. Get in touch with me if you just want to say hi. If there's any way I can help you, if you think we can partner and do business together, get back in touch. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus, Happy Hanukkah to all the Jewish people who celebrate. Happy everything to anything you celebrate. Looking forward to bigger and better things in 21. And as always, I appreciate your support and help along the way. And until then,